Sri Padmavati Mahila Viswavidyalayam.
Today we have a guest lecturer, Professor Sobharani ma'am from Padmavati Mahila University. She is the head of the Department of Communication and Journalism. She worked as associate professor in Annamacharya Institute of Technology and Science, Rajampeta, and she worked as a professor. Later, she worked as a principal, Annamacharya PG College of Management Studies, and she worked as assistant professor, Vikramasinghapuri University, Nellore. Right now, she is head of the Department of Communication and Journalism, Padmavati Mahila University. And we are very glad to have Sobharani ma'am as a resource person for this FDP. Madam has more than 20 years research experience. Madam have, and she published many international journals, national journals she published. And Madam has received 3 best publication awards last 3 years. IBM International Journal of Advanced and LAMP Journals, International Journal of Multidisciplinary Educational Research. I'm very glad to have Shobha Madam as a resource person for this FDP. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And Madam having a special distinctions, awards, honors she received. A Global Teacher Award for incredible skills, unstoppable spirit, and remarkable work in the field of education from AKS Education Award 2020. Madam have a lot of administrative positions Madam have received. So we are very happy, ma'am. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and be a resource person for this FDP. Over to Shobha, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Very good afternoon to all the participants, the faculty from different institutions. Hope it's a hot afternoon, but we'll be learning coolly about the research methodology, how the research paper can be prepared, because everyone wants to have the research paper to be published. And some of the cases we are running behind the journals to be published because Scopus is one of the reputed, recognized one, and every institution is asking us to go for it. So Pratibha has asked me because she's one of a scholar of mine, and it's a platform where I'm able to meet many teachers at a time. Welcome you all for the session. Hope everybody is there. Muted yourself. Can we start with the session now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So all of you have prepared the research papers already. What exactly research paper is? Yes, in our career, we might have already started preparing or published the research papers. And some of the young faculty may be willing to publish, but we have many confusions to publish our article. Our first question is, what exactly the research paper is? If this is a question, we know research means searching others' work and doing it is one of the misconceptions with the people who are doing the research paper. It is a base for us who are already done with this, and we'll be going for picking the things which are exactly needed by us, and we'll be upgrading it or changing it according to our need. Then it will be our own paper. It is different from management people than our. Do you want the slide to be shared to you people? Do you expect the thing, or you are okay with the listening of the thing? Pratibha, can I share the things?
Ma'am?
Can I share the PPT with you?
Okay, ma'am. Share it, ma'am.
Okay. How many of you have already published the research papers? So is there any difference between the research paper and management research paper? There is a lot of difference between the normal research paper and management research paper, because we have the management background which is there, and in the management we have learned from the beginning that how the planning has to be done till organizing of the activities and has to be done with us. So we first, whenever we want to publish our paper, we want to generate an idea. We have to generate the idea. How can we generate the idea?
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Just
How
a minute, ma'am. I'll have to give. I'm sorry, ma'am. Sobharani, ma'am. I'm trying to give you admin rights. 1 minute, ma'am.
Okay. Or else, can I share you on WhatsApp? You can change it. Can I share my document to Pratibha? Pratibha?
Ma'am, share that PPT to my WhatsApp or to my mail ID, ma'am.
I'm sharing.
No, ma'am. I have made Sobharani madam as a co-host. Now, madam can share PPT.
Oh, okay.
I have already shared to Pratibha, sir. Pratibha, you can do it, ma. I've just shared.
Okay, madam.
Well, I'll be speaking with our teachers. First, we have to generate the idea. How can we generate an idea to write the paper? Means ideas will be bombarding us. We want to have the paper to be published in a hurry. We will be having many ideas. In general, what we can do is you can write the ideas on the paper. What we generally miss, the idea whichever we get, we won't write it. The moment we get the idea, it's good. We can write a paper. In that way, we'll think. Afterwards, we forget the idea because we'll be busy with other works like taking the classes or evaluation the papers, and we forget the idea. And next time when we see the journals or when we search on the web, we'll get the same title over there and we'll miss the paper of publishing that particular paper on our plate. So whatever comes in our mind while doing other works, we have to write on a paper. That should not be missed by us. Paperwork is very, very, very important when you want to have the work to be published. It is a daily work. Don't think the paper can be done within an hour or within a day or within 2 days or 3 days. Every day, 1 hour, we have to spend for the research work. Then only we can get a good paper, good publication, and even a good project with this. Why I'm telling you like this is, to all my scholars, I will be telling the same thing. The reason is, you can get the fellowships also when you do the work in a disciplined manner. Everyday work will definitely fetch us the returns. So a paper to be published, first of all, we have to generate the ideas. When you want to construct the house or when you want to purchase a laptop or a cell phone which you want, iPhone 13 is one of the thing which is making us we want to own it, right? Whenever we want to purchase it, what plans we generally make? Anybody can answer. Whenever you want to purchase anything which you like, it can be a gadget, it can be a house, it can be whatever you want. What we generally do is we plan for it. What are the financial resources? We pull up and we try to plan it. In the same way, we try to write on the paper or in the mobile. We try to note down how many resources are already available with us. How can we pull up the other resources? In the same pattern, even the research paper demand us what exactly we have the ideas in our mind has to be written on the paper. Then among those ideas, which is an appropriate idea to convert in, the idea can be converted into a product or service. This is every marketing teacher knows, every management teacher knows. Now the idea has to be converted into paper. A research paper, a viable research paper, a quality research paper. So idea which is there in our mind should be converted into, on the paper, it should be converted into a research paper. Okay. Is it okay? So ideas. So for this, what we have to do is, we generally use the word called as brainstorming. All management teachers knows. What brainstorming has to be done is, the brainstorming on the paper. Thinking on the paper is compulsory, which we generally miss and even our students are missing. The days which when we are studying, we used to read the textbooks, and how many number of times we tell to our students they are not ready to open the books. We are also continuing with our web sources and finishing the task, which should not be. Use the textbooks which are available. All the books in the research process, we have to go research the textbooks, journals, newspapers, on the topic where we want to do our research work. So research paper a qualitative research paper will come out only when you do your idea, which is there, and it has to brainstorm in your mind on the paper. You should write, you should strike off many number of times, or keep a paper for yourself, write continuously whatever comes in your mind. This will help us to give the best out of you. Is it okay? Brainstorming of the idea. For this, what we have to do is free writing should be done. Freely we have to write whatever comes into your mind. It can be the title of the thing, or it can be something which comes in your mind whenever you are explaining in the classroom, whatever the comes in, free writing should be allowed, which improves the language of the writer or the researcher, by which we can give the best paper. So one thing is brainstorming of the idea. Other thing is generating or choosing that particular idea very, very choosively. This can be done by us when we write it very freely. Because in communication classes, we might have learned that a good listener will become a good speaker. A good writer will become, a good reader will become the good writer. In order to prove this particular thing, being a researcher, we should read the books well. We should make a note of the thing which we miss generally. Not only you, even in the initial stage of my research, I also want to finish the task very fastly. We are in a hurry to finish it off. So we will be running short of time, or we want to publish a paper. We don't do these sort of things. You may be knowing, for listening this task, you may think that we are already faculty members with experience of 10 to 20 years. We know all these things. We know, undoubtedly, we know the things. But what happens is we miss while implementing. Very small, simple things. Generation of the ideas. Our mind is a powerhouse of ideas. Everybody's mind is powerhouse of ideas. Then why the papers are repeatedly plagiarized? If you're such a good person, if everyone has such good ideas, why I'm stressing on this particular point where other points are very, very minor, I believe, because the idea which everyone can think very differently, because we have been given with the superpower of our brain. What we are doing is simply seeing others' work, or just instead of trend setting, we are following the trend. So better create the trend instead of following the trend. For that, what I'm telling, or what exactly I'm following, it's not like telling you people, it's just what exactly I just want to tell you is create the trend with your own ideas. For that, keep a book separately and write your idea continuously every day, every minute, 10 minutes. When you get the break for class to class, just make a note of it. Keep a book in your workplace, keep a book at your home. Whatever idea comes into your mind, you please write it. This improves the things of thinking and writing, which improves the quality of the work which you want to have. And you need not worry that why should I write always? Everybody is taking rest. Why should the hard work will be appreciated and will be rewarded definitely. This continuous work which we do will reward the best paper, and you will get the prizes when you go for presentations in the international conferences. And so do whenever you want to write a paper, don't do it. Definitely, we have to review the textbooks, journals, newspapers, everything. This is a compulsory work which we have, because whatever work has been done, how far it has been published should be known by us. But getting a new idea from that is important, because recruitment and selection cannot be changed. Capital budgeting techniques cannot be changed. Advertising techniques will not be changed. The pattern which we use will change. How you mold that particular idea into your paper and your research, that changes. The basic terms or fundamentals of management in every specialization will never change. Agree? My dear teachers, will you agree with this concept? Hope some of the people at least will respond. Okay, Sandhya has accepted with me. So I'll be moving to the next aspect of, once we are generated with the idea, what sort of paper we have to prepare. There are different sorts of paper. Like we have viewpoint paper. That means where our views can be published in sort of a research paper. What views we generally have, different challenges will be there. We'll have different problems. All those things which we have can be viewed in our own viewpoint. How we view them, that can be published as a paper. Whatever view, in our viewpoint, how we feel, like the studies which we make, in our own viewpoint, individual to individual perception changes, their own pattern of presentation changes. So the papers which we publish in our own view, in our own style, we call such papers as viewpoint papers. Research papers are 6 types in general. These are broad classification. This changes from author to author or management analyst to analyst. Myself has divided this particular thing where I follow this particular method, where viewpoint papers, where our own view presentation, the problem can be resolved in my own style, and I will be presenting myself in the paper. This particular paper will be called as a viewpoint. Okay, and we have technical papers too. Technical papers are known as, they are very, very different. A technical which is going to describe about the progress of the research which we have conducted. Already what exactly the technology has been used. AI example, right now we have artificial intelligence which is used. Previously, how the artificial intelligence was very, very limited. Now artificial intelligence importance has been improved in such a way, without driver also we will be moving the 4-wheeler, which was not expected by us, but now the research is going on. The continuous research has given us driverless cars. So technical papers or the research which will be conducted from time to time, the technology involved aspects will be there. Okay. So such type of papers even we can publish according to the technology which we use in our management papers. And next we have case studies which are very popular with the management teachers. We give case studies to our students, analyze this particular case because problems are common. Those problems in the business organizations has to resolve by the managers. We give case studies. Even we can write the case study papers. Instead of taking others' case studies, even we can produce our own case study, our own problems which are there prevailing around us. That will give us the case study papers. Even we can produce. Instead of taking others' case studies, we can have our own case studies. And the next thing is conceptual papers. The concept-oriented papers where the base will be there and we do the research continuously. Like we have in the managerial economics, which we teach, will have price theories, break-even point, where when the point of break-even is going to happen when you start a business. Like conceptual things which we can extend to our business organizations. Okay, so these are conceptual oriented, like Newton laws, which were there, third law, which is very popular. Every action will have the reaction. Newton laws has not stopped there. It has extended to whatever extent we want to have. We have taken the base and we were, the scientists are doing the things. So in the same pattern in management, Maslow's hierarchy of needs we have. The needs has not stopped with one level. They were moving from one level to the other level. Physical needs to self-esteem needs. How it has been progressed. And many researchers are going, the concept is hierarchy of needs. This has not stopped with only Maslow's hierarchy, and we are applying to our own employees. We are providing many perks, all these things in a HR to satisfy these 360 degrees of appraisal will be done by us, and we'll be going for giving different things to the employees along with the salary in order to motivate your employees to give the best from them, to get best from them. In that way, the conceptual papers are, you take the concept and you apply in your research. Like it can be recruitment methods or selection process. It can be 360 degrees of appraisal in HR or whatever the thing. Like the perception of the customers will change from time to time. We have different models which were developed. Like when we start our principles of management, Taylor's scientific management principles and 14 principles of Fayol's, these were with the experimental base which came out. Those concepts, models we take to make the paper. You may have the doubt, like how can we make use of it? The perceptions which are there with the customers are the base to make the changes in the paper, in the products or the services which we render in the organizations, isn't it? So you will, most of the things where we do is, what is the perceptions of the people? So our paper is concept oriented, model oriented, ABC model. If finance teachers can understand EOQ model, ABC model, where inventory can be managed in such a way in order to avoid the unnecessary losses of having huge quantities of inventory in the warehouses. So the model-based works are called as conceptual papers. If you take a model and work it out and you want to produce, so these are the things which we have our conceptual papers, and we have literature review. Nowadays, these papers has got from the past 10 years where I have seen literature review papers has increased, where we take all the literatures or all the papers which was done on the same topic where we started working. Then we will be giving that particular author has done this particular research to this extent. And later we will be taking that after this, what we can do. So we take 50 reviews and we publish it as a paper. That type of paper is called as literature review paper. Right? And the next category of paper is general review paper. This is not going to take, don't take the literature. Generally, how you want to give, like narration you give, and you just explain the concept which you have taken as a paper continuously and smoothly. You start with the introduction, you just conclude it. There is no separate thing. Like generally you review according to your wish or your own opinion, you give the review. So these are the 6 major types of papers. You can choose any of the paper you want to publish in any of the journal. Clear? So what sort of papers we have discussed till now? Teachers, sorry to question you. Now I'll be asking you only with the reason that whether you are listening attentively or not. What sort of papers we can publish when we want to go for the publication? Because this is a major task which is there before us. Now as teachers, what sort of papers you have, you can go. What sort of papers you like among all 6 types? So you want to have the smooth delivery of the lecture, not to have the questions.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
Case study type of paper and review paper.
Yes.
Review paper, ma'am. Literature review
Want to
paper.
go the literature review paper. Okay. So that is the most easiest thing, but only thing is you require more of the reading skills. When you go for the literature review on a topic of your choice, then what exactly is there? You have to read 50 different papers on the same topic in different styles they have been prepared. Then you can go for the literature review very easily and you can go for the publication of the paper. Then what styles of layout or page formatting can be done for the research paper you are going to prepare? How can we prepare our layout? Because title paper is required. Title has to be prepared, right? So formatting, Pratibha, can you please share the drafting a research paper, ma'am? Drafting a research paper slide. Okay. So drafting a research paper is the task which we have to do now. The first thing is title we have to prepare. Generally, whenever we see we have a kid, we will try to name it. Now our paper is a kid for us, and we have to name it. The titling is very, very important. Title of the paper. After the title, we'll go for abstract preparation. Then we'll be going for introduction and in-depth study or the body of the paper. Then we will be going for the discussion of the paper, explaining the concept which we have taken, because objectives we might have taken, research methodology and hypothesis which we have taken, and the models or the tools which we will take for the analysis purpose. Finally, we'll go for explanation of it, with conclude it and go for. So drafting of the research paper can be with a model. Please show the diagram, Pratibha, because I just asked, I want to give an assignment at the end in such a way that all the teachers has to prepare it. That's the reason why I'm asking you to think. Drafting a research paper, design, the model which I just want to show. Title has to be there, and then we have to prepare the abstract, introduction, body of the paper, discussions, conclusions, suggestions, whatever we have. Just now, this slide will make you the viewpoint paper, technical paper, case study, conceptual paper, literature, and general review. The next one, ma. Yes, this particular diagram. Next slide, please. Next one. Next, I'll explain this afterwards at the last. The next one. Next. Yes, this one. Likewise, I just want to show you this figure only with the reason we have to develop our own models when we are preparing a paper. Don't try to copy any diagram from any place. You just create whatever you want, because insert the diagrams will be there. With the help of that, create your own diagram in this pattern and try to have the naming of that particular part according to your wish. That colors, everything has to be prepared on your own, by which your paper will be unique and will not have any plagiarism at the end. Okay, next slide, ma. Title preparation, because that is more important. In order to have our title to be there, as I said to you, people, whenever we take a puppy or we have a kid, we try to name it, like naming ceremony we do. For our paper also, we should take utmost care in naming of the paper. The title should be descriptive, at the same time very informative. It should not be very lengthy. Most of the cases, we add a study on a recruitment and selection of so-and-so of the employees of XYZ company of Andhra Pradesh. Such a lengthy title is not required. Limit yourself to 8 words to 15 words, by which your title will be catchy. Because the moment we read that particular title, we should understand what research has been conducted by the researcher till the end. In such a way, you have to name it. It should be very descriptive, in the sense, not more than 15 words. Within 15 words, possibly 8 words to 15 words. It should give the total meaning of your total work which has been conducted by the researcher. Avoid vague, inaccurate, and amusing titles. Some of the cases we will be dragged by the titles which will be catchy, but we should not be in such a way. We have to use it very informative titles, which should be short, sweet, which should be relevant to your subject, and possibly a single phrase or double phrase connecting with, and possibly a single phrase will be good. Grammar is very, very important. In your title, take care of the grammar which should be there. Avoid abbreviations in the thing, because we use IT very commonly. Information technology, we can't write, we use it. GST, when a title is going to have effect of GST on so and so, you have to explain GST completely. If you want to write in the title, never use the abbreviations. We know this. We instruct even our students when they are doing the project work, but in our title, we miss and we use it. While giving the instructions, we can do it, but when we are doing the things, we may commit minor mistakes which affect its quality. The quality is affected. That's the reason why we should take care of the quality of the work, for which the title should be less than 8 to 15 words, and it should be more informative and more relative to the subject of the topic which you have chosen, and possibly single phrase fine. Grammatically, it should be very, very proper. The title should be very proper, by which whenever whoever is following will have the confidence that this author's work can be followed by us. Whenever you find a mistake in the grammar of any of the lines, or especially in the title, you won't go through the paper at all. How best the researcher might have done the work, you will lose the impression on the work because the title was not properly framed, grammatically wrong. Because we may not be very, very masters in grammar, but the moment we read, we feel that there is something wrong in that. So when we go through in such type of things, immediately what we think is, the person is not capable of doing the title properly. Why should we go through the paper of 10 to 15 papers, or 10 to 12 papers, we prepare our article. Much of the hard work we do, but we may miss to concentrate on the title. So try to concentrate on your title properly to frame it, and abbreviations to be avoided very, very properly. You should never use abbreviations. Possibly, if it is not unavoidable, in unavoidable conditions, try to use it, but possibly in the title, avoid abbreviations. So this is about the title formation, because we may get the doubt. So while doing this particular title, we should take care of much of the care should be taken, because that is the thing which makes, because if you want to have the citations, because this is one of the things where NAC is also asking, citations are very important. People has to refer your paper. For that, you please put the title in such a way which should be with less words and with the correct grammar. Okay, then after the title in the paper, we should write, because title will be in a separate paper. In the drafting, I'll tell you, title should be in a paper when you send for the publication. Affiliations, how many number of authors are writing the paper? Alone you are writing, then your designation, your qualification, designation, where you are working has to be written. And if you are co-authoring yourself and someone is joining with the paper, then you give proper, unless according to the general requirement, we have to give the affiliation after the title. Okay, then abstract has to be prepared. We have to prepare the abstract. Oh, everybody knows what exactly the abstract. It is a gist of the research. A total 12 pages or 15 pages or 10 pages, which we have done or which we have explained in detail. A précis writing of your paper is abstract. How best you can write in abstract that makes the readers, or in some of the journals, only abstract may be visible. Once they are convinced with the work which you have done in the abstract, they may pay and can go through it. If it is Shodhganga, freely available. Some of the cases, your paper is more worthy and they need to pay. Unless until your abstract is going to attract them, they will not go through the paper, and your citations will not increase. So abstract and keywords are very important. How to prepare the abstract has certain guidelines. Single paragraph and concise abstract has to be prepared by us. We should have only a single paragraph. Maximum of 250 words is a maximum limit. One single paragraph will be good for the abstract writing by any author. How long, how lengthy, how best research work it may be, the abstract should not exceed 250 papers, 250 words. Okay. So 250 words is the maximum limit which we have. So and it should be one paragraph only. What should be there in the abstract? We should have three things has to be kept in our mind, that the spellings, the clarity of thought, what has been done by us should be written in the abstract with proper grammar and 250 words. This is the thing which we should keep in our mind. Abstract should be clearly indicating our research with 250 words. The grammar, the idea, clarity of the thought should be there. Initially, we should explain in 2 or 3 lines where 30 to 40 words will be there, what we are doing over there. That means what we want to present in that particular paper has to be. Later, we have to proceed to what if you want to write any phrases or proper reporting of the quantities has to be written afterwards, like population or the geographical areas. If you want to mention, you can. But it should be clearly explained in the abstract. Initial 2 lines, we can go through what is the topic. Later, what questions, like the objective which we have focused, because we will be working on in our research with 1 or 2 objectives in general, right? So in the next 3 lines, we should stick on to our objectives or explain that particular objectives for which we are working in our paper. And last 3 or 4 lines, we should go for what we have to discuss, what we have found in the paper or in the research, or the focus of the paper in this particular research has to be explained with, and we have to conclude over there with 1 line. And basic keywords has to be chosen, 3 or 4 keywords which are very specific to that work has to be affixed. Okay, so abstract should be 250 words. It should be limited to 250 words, and then it should be only 1 paragraph, 250 words, and with proper grammar we have to write the abstract. And the first 3 or 4 lines to be stick to the topic, next 3 or 4 lines to the objective, and next we have to go for what we have focused and what are the findings of the work the researcher majorly focused and found. Finally has to be affixed with the keywords which are very, very specific to that particular paper. Don't go, or keywords means whichever you like, you catchy, you just pick it and give. They should be very specific and has to be given by you properly. That is the importance of abstract and keywords. Next is writing the format of introduction. Introduction has to be written by us. Once the abstract is completed, we have to focus on the thing where we have to write introduction. Everybody knows introduction can be written very properly. As we know, introduction, most of the cases in the introduction or in research, what has to be remembered is we have to write everything in the past tense. Because most of the cases we find generally is, are will be used in the sentences where was, where has to be used. Already the work has been completed by you. Even it is a theoretical paper or the paper where you have collected the data, empirical paper. When you collect the data, we call it as empirical paper. When you just collect the data, theory, like literature review, all these review papers will be of theory papers. A theoretical papers, if you are going to concentrate on that, a theoretical papers or this particular thing, you have to write. We all has to write only in the past tense. Mistakenly, not knowingly, we go in the explanation process in the present tense. That should be avoided in the introduction part, even in the abstract also. Total paper should be in the past tense, except the factual data which we are presenting over there. Mostly the paper, because the work is already finished by us. So now what we have to do is, it should be in the past tense. So the format of introduction is how we have to do. The particular introduction is use the past tense as I said to you, organize the ideas one after the other related to this introduction, one paragraph after the other. And you please go through the background of the study, which is already done by someone, and write it as per the research purpose. As per our research, we have to make it note of it. And then develop the objectives which are needed. Because we have to go for what exactly already done. A precise idea has to be developed. Objective has to be done. Hypothesis and objectives has to be developed by us. So what we have to do is we should do background verification, or background information has to be verified by us. Then we have to develop our thing. So introduction part where we explain about the conceptual things very clearly, and research development will be done one after the other. The introduction part will make the paper more attractive or more explanatory to concentrate on the work which we will be doing. Okay, so the thing is, we have to go for the introduction part should be prepared by us very properly, as we will be proceeding to the next concept of writing of the introduction, where the purpose of study has to be analyzed by us. What for we have started this particular research paper? Are we doing it only for the purpose of writing and want to have a paper in your account, or you want to have the recognition through the paper? Most of the cases, as I started my talk to you people, that we are in a hurry to publish the paper or write the paper, finish up the task, as every year self-appraisal will make us to go for the thing. That self-appraisal form will ask you 2 papers to be published or 4 papers to be published according to the institution. So you will be in a hurry to write the paper. But introduction part, when you focus on it and when you want to do it very properly, already the abstract which you want to do, what exactly your framework has been prepared, go for the concept very clearly. According to your title, 2 or 3 concepts might have already clubbed by you. In a particular organization you want to study, you give one after the other related topics. Let it be definitions. Frame your own models. As I said to you people in the beginning, on black and white diagram as research model or research paper model, starting with the title of the paper, ended with the references or citations. In that particular diagram has been prepared by me. So you have to prepare your own model in the introduction. Definitions has to be collected or framed by us, because we have our own topic and our own research. You can even create your own definitions. Need not be cited always. Some of the cases you can take 3 or 4 definitions, your own definition you will write. You can give clear picture of the authors who has given the definition of that particular topic. Along with that, you can frame your own thing according to the requirement. It's not writing something like expanding the things a number of pages. There are restrictions in the international journals like 5 pages too. So we need not explain the thing, or you need not prolong the thing. But what exactly I'm doing in the introduction part, try to explain the things well by which the paper will be attractive. But don't miss any of the thing which has to be explained in the introduction part. It can be theoretical background, it can be model which can be developed, because the model base which we develop in the introduction will be helpful for us to develop the objectives of the paper. Okay, the objectives of the paper can be developed in such a way. The purpose of study should be known, what for you are preparing this particular paper. I just want to clear one thing here. The purpose of the study is it should be known by us. How can we choose the title? How can we prepare the introduction will be $1 million question by us if you are a real researcher. Otherwise, it's not an issue, because There are huge millions of papers which are available in Shodhganga or somewhere else. The research works has been already published. When you try to think about my paper should be unique, it should be the model paper to many of the people. In such case, you start writing on the paper. I even suggest to my scholars in such a way, your work should be useful for you, for the institution where you are studying, and even for the society. These three aspects will be the things which will make your paper more valuable. Can I repeat this word which is needed? Whenever you do a work, it can be a class, it can be a research work, it can be any other thing. First of all, the work should be useful for the individual. And the second thing is, it should be useful to the institution. And third thing is, it should be useful to the society. Why these things are important is, now there are 3 students who are doing full-time research under me. It's not to, it's only to encourage you people. I'm telling you, everybody can write the research papers and research proposals too. Proposal also in the same pattern will write, and we have got funding from ICSSR for all the 3 proposals. Paper and proposal will not vary. Very minor variations will be there. I'll explain you. The first in 2016, when I joined in Mahila University, the same pattern I have followed. So I'm telling you, and the same thing I'm giving to you people. First thing which I have followed is the relevance of the topic, or the topic which is very, very booming at that particular period. In 2016, the topic was Stand Up India and Startup India. Pratibha, stop sharing the screen, ma. You stop here. I am just telling you the example of it. You are moving to the conclusions. I am only in the introduction part. Why I'm just telling is, you may think that only common points I'm telling you. We miss these basic points, and we are trying to have, like, base of the building is not going to be good, and we want to have the 10-story building or 20-story building to be published in the journal. That is the problem, where we are not getting the output of the research papers properly. So one thing we should remember is the paper should be useful to you, to the institution, and also to the society. When you are remembering these 3 points, we choose a topic which is very, very burning topic at that moment. It can be a buzzword, you can say, which is be commonly used, or the national prioritized topic has to be chosen, your paper to be published. When you choose that particular topic, definitely your paper is going to be at top, and no questions from any of the publisher, and you will be giving the best out of you, because that particular topic is needed. Much of the research is needed. So in 2016, when I've taken the first full-time scholar, I just suggested her it can be a startup thing. So she has chosen related to startup thing, and ICSSR has funded 20,000 per month, and she has completed her PhD in 2020. Within 4 years, full time, she has completed. So topic was Startup India. I'll reveal the titles tomorrow. I'm just giving you in 2016 what I've done. In 2017, other student has been allotted. And that particular period, entrepreneurship, again, startup related only. Green entrepreneurship is one of the thing which was, because we were going for Vanam Manam, planting of the trees was there, and we have to practice, green practices were increasing. So I have suggested the student, and they have worked it out, green entrepreneurship management techniques. And later we have moved to, in 2020, another student when he was allotted, as anemia, tribal entrepreneurship and tribal things were important. So healthcare sector and tribal anemia in the tribal woman. These 3 projects, I have only 3 full-time scholars right now. All the 3 had been funded with ICSSR, IPE of ICSSR. 20,000 per month they are getting. The reason is, at that particular moment when the student enters, the title which we frame or the topic we choose is very important. So paper to be priced or to be taken as the best paper, the title of the paper, as I said to you, that is very, very important. When I have started the title to be framed with 8 words or 15 words, everybody might have got bored that we know how to title the paper. Is there that is the title is very important. I will say that this is very, very important because naming of the paper, most of the cases, everybody will not get the time to go through your paper completely. The title, the subtitles which you give, the subheadings which we give in the paper, which appropriately are not boring the people, very clearly, very precisely when you give, every chance that your paper will be chosen for publication and also for the funding or to be chosen as the best paper among the presentation. Is it okay? Why title has been given that much of importance is only with the reason that if you are not going to choose or pick your title properly, that is going to make you, or you cannot do wonders, because with title only you can go for your abstract work, introduction part, and then objectives to be framed. Here, one of the misconceptions, or we believe that the objective should be 4 to 5 or 6 to 7. Most of the papers which I observe in general was with lengthy objectives, and number of objectives will also be 6, 5, 4 likewise. We don't require those many number of objectives. Be concise about your objectives. Be specific. We say to our students, goals, vision, mission, all these things. Make your objectives to be very precise. Only 1 or 2 is sufficient. No need to have those many 6 to 7. When you take those objectives, you have to justify your work by fulfilling those objectives. You can't leave your paper as such, giving 7 objectives, finally findings, or seven findings. With 7 findings, you'll go and you will conclude that all the 7 objectives which I have taken were satisfied, so my work is very best. This is not possible in reality. So whatever work you can go, especially in the case of empirical papers, minimize your objective. Even 1 is sufficient. Nobody is going to question that why you have confined yourself to only an objective. As we want to work it out very clearly, elaborately, and want to satisfy, or you want to give right findings or feasible findings which are implementable findings, not to extend the length of the paper. Our intention is to produce a good paper, not to give lengthy paper. Right? In such a case, you go for only 1, maximum of 2 objectives, which attracts the people that these 2 objectives has been decided by the researcher. Finally, whether these objectives has been fulfilled by you or achieved by you through your methodology. Because we are in a hurry to pick up the objectives or frame the objectives because you want to publish the paper, 6, 7 objectives. Finally, you may give only 1-line findings that this objective has been achieved. Okay, you have done it. You have explained it. But for whom you have done? 1 objective. When you are going to have how many startups are there, or how the recruitment process has been done in the startups or entrepreneurship to be developed. Because whenever you take 1 particular objective to be fulfilled, the paper title will take. Tomorrow what we do is we take a title. All of you please work it out. A title to be framed in the lines which I've suggested to you, and 1 or 2 objectives are sufficient. 1 or 2 objectives are sufficient, and then move to the hypothesis to be framed. We have hypotheses, assumptions of the work, because negative and positive works which will have a null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis. Now we are not using null hypothesis as widely we used to have in last decade. Now we are confining ourselves to only HA, alternative hypothesis, how the work has to be done, and we want to prove with the tools which we choose later. So what exactly is hypothesis can be framed after the objectives, and you can frame your methodology, research methodology, in which lines you want to conduct or run your work, with what tools you can conduct, because this is very, very important. Methodology is the base. Like you can say it is the heart of your work. Till now, what has been is, it is only you are preparing whatever you require. But now what exactly you are doing is, methodology is the heart of the work. So prepare the methodology in such a way that very relevant to the work which you are doing. As everybody is doing correlation, I'll also do correlation. As everybody is asking for regression, I'll go for regression. ANOVA is MANOVA, ANOVA, and especially structured equation model, SEM. As everybody is moving, I'll also do, whether it is applicable for us or not. So be very cautious about choosing the tools. Don't be in a hurry to go for. As you know, standard deviation, application of standard deviation is not needed. As a space is, a new version has been downloaded and you are working with that. So I'll do all the tools, KMA technique, or what are the tools which are available. I'll analyze my data with that. Whether the relevance is there or not there, you have to check before going. Are you going for the cross tabulation? Are you going for the demographic profile to be analyzed? Or what exactly the questionnaire which you have prepared? Whether you are going for the theoretical paper or the paper where through the questionnaire tool you are going. Likewise, you have to have a clear idea about the thing. Then once you have gone for the empirical data collected through the questionnaire or interview or Google Forms, whichever because now Google Forms are popular. In whichever pattern you have gone, collecting the data, analyzing data. While preparing the questionnaire, how carefully you have prepared your objectives, because those are achievable objectives. Remember, one or two objectives which we have framed in our paper or our research proposal are achievable objectives. Not for the sake of show we are writing the objective. Sorry to use the word show. I don't want to hurt anyone. But what we do is, we want to make our paper more theoretical, more beautiful. We may do it. Don't do the thing. And everybody wants to have our paper to be best. But sometimes it happens. So avoid it. Only one or two objectives we can have. And later, the hypothesis can be developed. Methodology, in the methodology, what tools are appropriate? Because when the population and sampling methods which we follow, whichever is convenient for you, go for that particular, but representative sample is needed. When you have crores of sample is available, taking 100 sample is not allowed. And one more small point which I just want to tell you, in most of the papers or most of the cases which I observed is, never take 100 sample. Sample number should not be 100. In general, please try to avoid this particular number. Can anybody tell me why I am telling you don't go for number 100? Sample size should not be 100. When you are going for, especially for percentages. Because whenever we go through the papers, refer the papers, either me or you, we observe that percentage is one of the best methods. Later, we may apply other methods. But in general, we are fascinated towards the percentage. We may go for it. Then why don't we go for 100? We're not supposed to go for 100 because percentage is 100, sample size and percentage 100. When you prepare beautiful tables over there, because responses of the people, rural people, urban people, the age of the people with demographic profile will take, and you ask a question that what is your opinion about COVID-19, whether you have been affected with this with this particular area. Likewise, when you are, people will respond. 100 sample you take, 100% or 70 people will respond, 70% will come. What is the use of analysis? By taking 100. So never take your sample when you are using percentages. Please try to make asterisk when you are making note of it. If you are writing down any of the things which I'm telling to you people, in percentages, never take, when you are analyzing through percentages, 100 samples should be avoided. Take more than that. In a research paper, even 50, 30, because t-test, test, which we apply, we go for according to the requirement, but sample size should be avoided is 100. You can take any number if you want, but the sample should be a representative sample. I don't go for a lucky number, don't go for an odd number. They go for a representative sample which appropriately fits. Once you choose a sample, go for your Google Forms or whatever pattern you want to collect the data, because physical is not possible. Still, the conditions are not that much favorable to go into the field. So go for the Google Forms, prepare the Google Form very, very appropriately, divide your sections. Remember, I can suggest you people, conceptual paper will be good. Literature review paper, anyway, we do it by taking the review of the others. But conceptual paper will make the paper more beautiful and authenticated in such a way that a model-based questions also can be made as sections. Section 1 is demographic profile. Section B can be divided into 3 more sections, like based on the model. Based on the model, we can have 3-4 sections, and each section you can have 5 to 6 questions by which you can analyze the demographic profile with the section A, and demographic profile with section B, demographic profile with section C. This cross tabulation or factor analysis, the tools which we want to apply can be possible. So go for the conceptual models which are already developed by management theorists, and try to apply the particular thing through your question. Questionnaire should be simple, easy to answer. These things are known to us, but try to apply it. The question should be in a simple form, understandable way. As we are sending the Google Forms, the literates will be opening, but even then, they'll have not that much patience to answer your questions. So simplify your questions, reduce the number of questions, appropriate questions. Don't ask the questions for the sake of asking the questions. Just limit yourself, make yourself very proper in such a way that questionnaire is a representative thing, like it will be useful for you and also for others. So my thing is, any work should be useful for us, for the institute, and for the society. As the work you have, the questionnaire has been answered or can be answered by your respondents properly, then go for the analysis. This analysis part, you can take the tools which are appropriately fits for that. I'll share you in the WhatsApp group which we are, which tools can be appropriately fits for which type of analysis. I'll share you immediately after this session. Once the analysis is over, we'll go for findings. So what exactly the objective which we have framed, 1 or 2, that has been fulfilled, or this has not been achieved because these are the things which are not there in the organization. So we can improvise this particular implementable suggestions. As you have found it very properly, so you are suggesting to the organization or your state government or the central government that these modifications are needed in this particular scheme or in this particular process, thereby it can be achievable. So we will be going for conclusion of the paper. Conclusion is, so this is a so-and-so work I have started in the research. Finally, I was able to find this. So I'm concluding that this particular research can be continued further with the addition of this. In that way, we have to conclude. Conclude is, I've completed this work, I'm just closing this. No. As I'm able to do this work from my predecessors, what they have done, I've completed the work to this. I was able to find in my findings in this way. So there is scope for the research further in this work. So I'll be continuing the work, or anybody can continue in the same pattern. In that way, we have to conclude. Hope everybody has got how to write a paper to some extent. So anybody has any other things? Tomorrow I'll be going for referencing, citing, and indexing of the things, and along with the plagiarism. In this, the theoretical aspects were given. Practically, we'll go through each and everything tomorrow. First 15 minutes, we will be going through how the title can be framed by us, objectives can be framed, because without theoretical background, if I'm going to ask the questions, now only you are not answering. So I've just stopped at this particular point. Now, I'm closing the session of today with conclusion of the paper. So total paper has been prepared. Now we have to go for referencing and citing. That can be continued tomorrow. Is it okay? Any other things if you want to ask me, you can ask, because in the tomorrow's session, we can clear it. Or now, possibly I'll clear if you can bear with me for 10 more minutes. I don't have any problem.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for today's session. Participants have any doubts, you can raise in the chat box. Anything would you like to ask? Madam will be available for tomorrow's session also. Participants have any doubts to ask, ma'am? I think no one, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, participants requested to attend the tomorrow session also. The remaining session will be continued for tomorrow, the same timings. Shobha ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am. Today you deliver really excellent, ma'am. The very knowledgeable session.
Nobody is responding. No,
thank you.
And they are responding. It seems everybody was muted by you, Pratibha.
Yes, madam, really. And what ma'am, what you said is exactly right. The scholars and who are working under your guideship, majority of they had got ICSSR scholarship we had, because we received the ICSSR scholarship because of your effective guideship, that guidelines, what you guiding us is really fantastic, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, I just have
tomorrow.
Listen, Pratibha, it's not to say, because it is theoretical session they might have felt. So why I have concentrated on preparation of the title, only for that I have taken the example of my scholars, okay? Only for that, not to, because people may feel why 8 words, 15 words of title, why should we limit ourselves, abbreviation should not be used. These are like theoretical, basic things actually there, we miss while preparing the thing. For that I have told, in these lines only I'm working with my scholars in the research work. So try to follow it to improve yourself, because everybody was working in different colleges, but with which our project reports can be, the quality of projects can be improved, and our research also will improve. Only with that, I just quoted my students' example, only for that reason. Not to say that everybody has got it, because ICSSR is one of the institutions which require much research oriented works alone. For that I'm okay, not to boost myself, only with the reason that it is the funding you can get or you can grab only when you work on realistic problems which are useful for the society, for us, and for the institute. Okay, thank you for giving the opportunity, Pratibha. I'm closing the session. We'll meet tomorrow.
We are lucky, madam. We are lucky to have you today's session.